Welcome to the REV Your Agency podcast, the most candid and authentic life insurance and annuity podcast that is hell-bent on helping you be more honest, ethical, productive, and profitable. Tune in and you're going to get exclusive access to the industry's top tools, tips, tricks, and resources from the biggest and most effective producers on earth. You're going to hear real-life stories of agents that went from nothing to something, zero to hero, and how changing the lives of their clients has changed their own lives financially. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show, and share it with someone you think will find value as well. Let's hear it. I want to hear your commercial.
I don't have the energy to read you my commercial today. But anyway, Carson, my name is Brian. I'm with 3 Point Financial Solutions. We are a third-party admin for your school district. You may wonder. Say what?
Hey, Brian. I'm trying to role play here.
Oh, you're trying to role play. Okay. Yeah, you may wonder why your school district uses third-party admins instead of having their own financial advisor. Honestly, it's just because us financial guys tend to make a pretty decent living. So rather than put the burden of expense on the students, families, and taxpayers, so what we have is a partnership. We get access to quality people such as yourself, and they take care of the expense, so I'm taken care of. And you get access to people like me so that you have access to top-of-the-line, good quality financial information regarding your retirement benefits to make decisions to end up where you want to be. So again, I don't work for the school district. I work with them. Any questions or concerns about that, Carson?
Are you single?
I'm not, but thank you for asking.
No, that's good, dude. That's perfect.
Yeah, no, nobody's ever, the only one I've ever been questioned on was today. The guy said, who do you say you work for again? I said, 3 Point Financial Solutions. That's my firm that I own. And so, no, it helps that the first one we did, I did via the phone call. I talked to you about that guy. He said, I'd love to do a Zoom, but I'm in the car. He goes, with our next one can be a Zoom. I'm like, that's fine. But they're all Zooms, and some of them are in the classroom, and there's some people darting in and out. And I asked them if it's okay to have a confidential discussion. I said, hey, if this is not a good time, we can reschedule. They're like, no, we're good. We all talk. We all know we're all in the same boat. Just the funny thing is, like the guy I talked to today is a principal in his building. Not one of the people I've talked to, I think I've done 9 of these now. Not one know anything about their retirement plan. Most of them don't know what membership class they're in. They all know the same thing. I get my 3 best years times a multiplier times how many years I work. And I just got to figure out how many more years I want to work. And then that's it.
So for anybody listening or watching, if you're watching this on YouTube and you don't know, PARMA stands for Pension and Retirement Maximization Appointments, okay? And there's a lot of companies out there right now that sell preset appointments for pension reviews with public employees. That's not new. That's not new at all. What PARMA is training. So we teach you how to maximize it. We've made hundreds of thousands and millions on this, right? So you get the training. We give you all the scripts for every appointment you're going to need to do, including role plays on doing those appointments. You get the text messages, every email you're going to need to send, every phone call you need to make. You get the sales tools and resources, your fact finders, all the way to your closing documents, PowerPoints, automated spreadsheets that you can plug numbers into that are going to automatically spit back some of your information you're going to need to close on, plus a weekly phone call where we do live case studies and collaboration and ongoing education, plus a forum in a community that you can chat back and forth with other people who are doing this so that you can not just, we want you to hit the nail on the head for the client. That's why you get paid. But at the same time, we want you to be productive and profitable at this, not take a year to figure it out. We want to compress that to 30 to 90 days to start making this happen. And this is, without a doubt, I've been around for a minute in this space, Brian. I don't know if you've dabbled in with anyone else, but this is, without a doubt, the most comprehensive turnkey approach to adding $100,000 to $300,000 per year in life and annuity commissions for any insurance agent, captive, independent, doesn't matter. What are your thoughts?
No, I agree. I started my career as a teacher well over 30 years ago. I still coached at the high school level. I coached various sports for 30 years, mostly basketball. So I was in the sphere, and I certainly have a lot of teachers, a network of teachers and coaches who I've become good, close friends with. And it was a few years ago when I got my securities license, I finally started doing some work with some teachers. The company that services their 403Bs just doesn't provide, in their opinion, very good service, and they were losing money, and they asked for a second opinion. So that's how I got into working with teachers to begin with. And this program was there, I thought was a natural fit. But to just piggyback a little bit on what you just said, every one of these people, and some of these are in the administrative positions, they don't know anything about their pensions. No one is coming to service them. They don't talk to anyone. They have very little, quite frankly, knowledge of a pension gap, and they all have one. In Pennsylvania, depending on if they coached or not, it's the lowest I have seen is 32%. The highest I've seen is 45%. And it's going to get worse for new teachers. They don't have the pension benefits that older teachers or school district workers have. So that's going to get worse. Most people, they throw money in a 403B, but have no understanding of how that works. They have no understanding of how taxes are going to work in their future. So it's an outstanding program. And everybody that it's come across not only needs help there, but they also have some other problems that my firm services, like debt. Everyone I've talked to has student loan debt in their history, whether it's them or their children, and not one have a good debt elimination plan in place. So there's a lot of areas these appointments can really help people. So it's outstanding. I have been extremely happy with the Parma program since I officially started.
Dude, it's pretty badass. I'm glad we met. Dude, I was looking at it. It's been a little over a year at this point, right? Since we joined forces, since you joined the dark side and came over and jumped into REV and gave me all your hard-earned money. And
that's true. Yes.
How shitty has it been for you?
If you want to say that having my best year financially ever is shitty, then it was bad. But no, quite frankly, I tell anyone I talk to, if you're struggling, like I'll reach out. Matter of fact, I did today on Facebook. There's a different group that I don't think you're in on Facebook that I'm in. And a guy's struggling and posted that. Got fired a couple of months ago and had never been unemployed. He's got a wife and some kids, didn't know what to do, decided he believed in infinite banking and decided he would give life insurance a try, but do Medicare. And he's struggling with that. So he wanted some help. So I reached out to him and offered up some suggestions. And a lot of those, quite frankly, come from the REV program, right? How to get in and do a grassroots program and build a six-figure career without having to spend an arm and a leg. If I can steal from you, I think it's, hey, if you give me, where else can you get $1,200 money back guaranteed? You give me $1,200, I'll give you money back guaranteed. But if you do the work, you'll have six figures in a year. I did that program. It works. And like I said, I've certainly enjoyed meeting you. Has not been detrimental to my personal or professional career. That's for sure.
I feel like you look older now than you did then, though. I feel like I've put years on your life, or taken years from it at least.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Person saying, no, stop. That dress doesn't make you look fat.
No, I do look older, and I feel older, especially today. A little under the weather today, but no, I certainly under your tutelage and your programs and all the people that I've met through your program. And we have a lot of other programs we're working on that are coming to fruition. So I'm going to be even busier, and my career is going to take a transition from personal producer into some other things. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's exciting. But the cool thing is, before I met you, I was thinking about retiring a year ago, and now I'm rejuvenated. I found my purpose, and we're just helping a bunch of people and having a great time doing that. And I love it, and I'm never going to stop doing it. So I might just take an extra week or two off during the year. But yeah.
But you'll be able to afford to. Dude, what's been cool to see with you, I'm going to be honest, like super gratifying, because that's the coolest part for me in founding this, I didn't even realize I founded it because I had this chip on my shoulder. So I was like, I'm going to start a mastermind that solves all the problems that I had when I was a young agent. But the coolest part has been meeting the majority of my best friends. And I would consider you one of those. We've had some late night conversations over beers on a Zoom call. We've shared some good times in Vegas at RevCon. We've more good times ahead. We're talking about some business stuff together and whatever. What's been really cool and gratifying to see as a friend is you came in and in a year, in 12 months, so we have all those different levels, right? And I remember having a phone call with you, man, it had to have been like December of last year. It's before I had some health issues and quit going to Vegas because I was on my way back from Vegas. I stopped for gas in Cedar City, Utah, and you and I were talking. And all I remember is we just kept talking. I had to pee so bad. But that was the moment. You'd been in for just a couple months at that point, and you were like, okay, I know I joined this top level, but I have free access to all the lower levels because of that. And I think I'm going to go back to the beginning and just make sure the foundation is right. And so you were going back to that Rebel group, and you had just done those modules, and you were like, holy shit. And I can't even I have my own unique spin on it, and some of it is mine, but a lot of it is things I gathered up from other people and whatnot, right? But it was cool to see you do that and then watch things explode, because you were in the middle of, if I remember right, it was a shitstorm with this retirement annuity thing that you had bought into, and then it was blowing up. They were sending you out on 10 hours of appointments per person, and nobody was even interested or qualified to buy. And all of a sudden, like, things start snapping. And then, like you're supposed to in the group, instead of just staying at that Rebel level, you got through that, implemented it, and then immediately went up to that next level, Rush, started learning what you could there. And there's more there than most agents could learn or implement in a whole career, but it's okay. You don't have to implement all of it. You implement the bits that are most prudent for you. And so you spent months doing that, and you could just see, I don't know, I've been able to see your level of fulfillment and traction, all these things going. And then the conversations we have in Rise, that top group, especially in correlation with what you've been doing with Image, which is what my question's getting to. Image was a thought in your mind clear back. I remember when you first jumped in a year ago, and I remember talking to you about it. It was the inklings of an idea, but it's been cool to see every step of the way, even though it was maybe a step towards personal production, but the things you've been learning, you've been able to implement back into Image. And you guys are just launching now, and it is, dude, it's pretty badass. I'm going to tell you that. How is Image going?
It's coming. Yeah. Looking to take it nationwide, something every advisor and agent can certainly use, should be using in their practice, quite frankly, if you're being full service to your client. Speaking of Vegas, right, when we were there, I talked a little bit about it in Vegas, and I asked agents to be honest and authentic.
Your freaking basketball shorts, dude. I told you I had one rule.
Again, I apologize, my friend. I told you when you met me, I have a problem with authority, and if you tell me I can't do something, it's a bad habit. I know. I'm trying to break it. But
so this year, I'm telling you, this coming up year, 2025 RevCon, do not show up in a pink tutu. You are not allowed, Brian.
I see what you're doing there. I'll let you know that I don't have a lot of vacations scheduled for 2024, but the things I have already booked solid on my calendar are DTDW in Scottsdale in January and RevCon in June in Vegas, right? So I'm sure there'll be a couple of quarterly Rise meetups along the way too that I look forward to, because those people, as far as I'm concerned, in addition to you, those people in that Rise group in particular have become like family. Have a very good partner in Becky Wilson that's come out of that group. And I've made Peter Wood with Parma and all this. Peter's a great guy. Met me in Arizona last year when I was out there. There's just some really cool people that are in that group and love to help people in this industry. And that's something you don't normally see, because everybody's, I can't help anybody because that'll hurt me. That's not the way with this group. And that's the fantastic thing. We join work, we help each other, we jump on Zooms. And I jumped on a Zoom after the Parma call with one of our gals that's in Rush. I talked to her about a case she's working on. One of her clients inherited some money from a life insurance contract. And what do you think we should do with that? And I talked to her for 20 minutes or so, and, going to talk to her again this week, and she's going to go back and get some information. But that's the kind of cool stuff that we do. This is a family, and you're trying to help people. And, that's great. You and I become, as you said, good friends. And I think admittedly, you and I haven't really spoken much in the last, 3 months, 4 months?
Yeah, dude, I was busy, and I told you leave me alone, and you've been busy.
But that's the cool thing, right? It's my calendar. On one hand, it's extremely full. Like tonight, I started at 8:00 and I'm going until 8:00. And I'm my own boss. And if I don't want to work those kind of hours, I don't have to. But I'm helping so many people that in building a couple of different programs here, Image and, of course, our debt elimination one, that my time is blocked. That's, speaking of time blocking, something we learn in the program. And something that I was terrible at, and quite frankly, probably could go through and do another time audit, but certainly I've become much more conscious of my calendar.
Dude, I think time blocking is probably one of the most underrated things that anyone is, especially those in REV, because they have, we spend so much energy on it, but it's crazy. You never stop to think. If you don't make the time to do successful things, you're not going to have successful results. Yeah.
So it's funny, just before I jumped on with you, I had a 15-minute phone call, a guy from a marketing company is trying to get me to buy into his program. And what he had to say. And I said, listen, I have a hard stop in 5 minutes. I need to jump off. I'm willing to do a follow-up with you. And he said, yeah, that'd be great. He says, what's your calendar look like tomorrow or Wednesday? And I'm like, you mean a couple Tuesdays or Wednesdays from today? I said, I don't have any availability until the 20th, which is 2 weeks from today. And so that's the beauty of this, right? I'm following the program again, not to belabor the point of how good this program is, but I know a lot of people get in and don't heed the advice, which is watch the modules and do the damn work. But if you do the work, the program's fulfilling. It does as promised. It's fantastic. So I'm busy, but I love it. So
what's next for you? Going back to the Image thing, are you fully launched at this point or kind of beta launched? I know you guys have been doing some events and...
We are not fully launched. We're beta launched partly because of the debt elimination program, which is 99% ready to launch. And then from there, it'll be Hero. And then from there, as you and I spoke briefly a couple of times, my next venture after that is Money School. So part of dealing with people that I run into through Image, which stands for I'm Making a Graceful Exit, by the way, that's what the acronym is for. The hard conversation I have is when you sit down and actually talk to folks, they're in their mid-60s or 70s, and the common refrain is, Brian, I wish I'd have met you 15, 20 years ago when I was young enough and healthy enough, I could have implemented some of these strategies. And I say, absolutely, I appreciate that. Put me in front of your grandchildren, because that's where a lot of these things really need to start. And so the next program is to me, the third spoke here in the wheel, which is a Money School. And because consequently, I do hear a lot of times, how come, Brian, we don't get taught about compound interest or taxes or Social Security or all these important things we need to do to get through life when we're in high school, when we're smart and young enough to put some of these strategies in place. And I said, I can tell you after doing the Parma appointments that those people that I'm dealing with in Parma that work in the school districts, they don't understand their own retirement. So how do you expect them to teach you about it if they don't understand it? So I actually told that to a couple of the Parma prospects, and they laughed, but they said, you're absolutely right. I would have no idea how to teach. You've already blown one girl said, you've already blown my mind in 10 minutes today. I can't imagine me trying to teach a classroom of students this stuff. So yeah, that'll be the third spoke. So get through Image, we'll do Hero University, which is our debt elimination, and then Money School. And then maybe I'll just cut back a little bit on the calendar.
Yeah, take a break, take it easy, just get some rest and come out here to Idaho and hang out with me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting out to Idaho in a fall month, not so much a March month, but.
What's wrong with March?
See, I live in Pennsylvania, for those that don't know, and in March it's still snowy and cold, and I'm pretty sure it's the same.
It can go, well, here it can go both ways. I've been up here. We were up here because my wife's family's from here. We've been up and around for years, and we've come up in years in March where there's not any snow on the ground where we're at. If you go up in the mountains still, of course, but there's nothing here. It's sunny, 40s, 50s, sometimes 60-degree weather. It's getting nice. And then like last year where we had 4 feet of snow on the ground in our front yard through mid-April is when it started to melt off finally. Last winter was a long winter. I've got the winter gloom. It's starting to get cold again. And I'm like, no, damn it.
You didn't really sell it to me right there. I gotta be honest with you.
So what I'm saying is, what's wrong with March?
Yeah.
You're like gambling in Vegas. Why not gamble with this?
See, I don't gamble in Vegas. I just go for the shows. So.
I don't gamble at all. People, for some reason, are always surprised by that, especially where I lived in Vegas for a while. But I do not gamble. I don't play cards. I don't play freaking board games. I just don't play them. All seriousness, all the time, Brian.
Yep, I don't gamble either. So, no, good stuff. But no, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to DTWS in Arizona. I'm a big believer in David McKnight's stuff. Ian Miller is very good. Looking forward to hearing some of these other speakers I've never heard before. REVCon was more than worth the price of admission. Again, not to toot your own horn here. Your program, I told you from the first week I got into your program, I've been an agent since 1998. And I think your Rebel program should be mandatory training for certainly anybody in this industry. But that training could be applied to almost any industry in this country.
Well, dude, I appreciate that. Before we go here, if there was one thing, like I know who you are. You're a good man. And if you could do anything to help anyone, you would. The entire intended audience of this podcast is anyone in the insurance and financial services space. Without speaking towards REV at all, because they probably gathered at this point, you and I like each other, and we'd love to see them in the mastermind. But without speaking towards that at all, if you could just give some folks some pointers, some things you've learned along the way since the late 90s, what would you say if this was your last opportunity ever to help somebody improve on their career? What would it be?
That's a great question. I appreciate you asking that. And I wish I had a really good answer. But
that was the most political, that was the most Barack Obama in a DNC debate ever.
But I do have an answer for you. It's something I wish I would have learned a long time ago. And I will say, as far as this industry goes, it can be very fulfilling because, again, like I said, I started out my career in education. I like teaching. I like helping people, helping kids. I grew up in a very poor family with a single mother that did her best to raise 2 young boys, and both of us became very successful and had good families. Teaching didn't work out for me, so I tried to find a career that would allow me to still coach and be flexible, but still educate at the same time, and that's the insurance industry because that's important to have. But I struggled for a lot of years, like a lot of people do in this business. 92% flame out within a couple of years. If they make it that long, it's not an easy industry. And it wasn't until, and it took me, again, unfortunately, a long time to learn this. My business really finally started to grow when I started investing money, time, and resources into me to make me a better person, whether it's personally, professionally. And if I could give anybody any advice, is become a voracious reader. I hated reading in school. I now read at least a book a week, whether I actually read it or listen to it on tape. And just invest in yourself. There's numerous ways: books, YouTube, Google. I tell people I literally have earned a 4-year finance degree from YouTube. And I believe that. There's resources out there. They don't cost a lot of money, if anything. And just invest in yourself, and I think you'll see a difference.
I love that. Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Green. Badass. Reach out to him. Brian, if folks want to reach out, is it okay if they reach out?
Absolutely.
Where can they get a hold of you at?
You can find me at Brian at 3pointfinancialsolutions.com. That is probably the easiest place to find me.
Just 3 the number or 3 spelled
3 the number. 3 the number. You can find that on Facebook, Instagram, X now. At least my businesses are there. I'm also on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn. Brian/3 point. The number.
You're badass, Brian. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate the hard work you put in. I appreciate being able to see it in your life. It's pretty damn cool. Pretty damn cool. So hopefully you'll come on again. Hopefully I haven't scared you away.
Hopefully I can come on when the businesses are up and running. I can tell you how things are moving and shaking. So that'd be awesome. I appreciate it.
Let's get you there. This has been another excellent episode of the Rev Your Agency podcast. Remember something. Nothing happens if you don't do the damn work. So take what you've got from this. Take what you've learned and go implement it today. It's not about having everything. It's about having one thing and implementing it every day so that you can take your production, your agency, and the lives of everybody around you to the next level. If you could use some help with it, hit us up at revagencysyndicate.com and jump in. We run a mastermind that is dedicated and hell-bent 10 times more than this podcast could ever be into helping you have the education, collaboration, and accountability that you need to go to the next level. Whether you are captive, independent, whether you're life only, or you focus on multiple lines, it doesn't matter. We're here to help. Let us help you.